Could you just
Natalie
admit upon
Pierce
that?
stood
I'm
in
still getting
front of
right
her
onto the
bathroom
flip.
mirror,
I'll concentrate on my
applying the
attractions.
final
But
touch
when
of
does the matter?
lipstick to her full lips. The soft pink shade complemented her caramel skin perfectly. She smoothed down her emerald green cocktail dress and took a deep breath. Tonight was supposed to be about networking, making connections, and possibly securing that promotion she had been working toward for the past 2 years at Sterling and Associates. Her phone buzzed on the counter. Carmen's name flashed across the screen with a text message that read, "Girl, you better be ready. This event is going to be amazing." "I'm outside." Natalie grabbed her clutch and headed downstairs to where Carmen waited in her silver sedan. Her best friend looked radiant in a navy blue pantsuit, her dark hair falling in loose waves around her shoulders. "You look stunning," Carmen said as Natalie slid into the passenger seat. "Tonight is your night. I can feel it." The Grandview Hotel ballroom sparkled with crystal chandeliers and elegant decorations. Business professionals mingled throughout the space, champagne flutes in hand, discussing deals and opportunities. Natalie felt a familiar flutter of nervousness in her stomach. These events always made her feel like she was playing a part, pretending to belong in a world that still felt foreign despite her success. The stranger across the room, Carmen, disappeared into the crowd. Almost immediately, drawn toward a group of executives from a tech startup, Natalie made her way to the bar, ordering a glass of white wine. She scanned the room, mentally preparing herself to approach potential clients and partners. That was when she saw him. He stood near the floor-to-ceiling windows, silhouetted against the city lights. Tall and broad-shouldered, he wore a perfectly tailored charcoal suit that emphasized his athletic build. His dark hair was styled casually, and even from across the room, Natalie could see the confident way he carried himself. As if sensing her gaze, he turned. Their eyes met, and Natalie felt something shift in her chest. His eyes were a striking shade of blue, intense and curious. He smiled, a slow, genuine smile that made her heart skip. Before she could look away, he was walking toward her. "I hope you don't mind the intrusion," he said, his voice smooth and warm. "But I saw you standing here alone, and I thought that seemed like a crime at an event like this." Natalie found herself smiling despite her usual reserve. "Is that your go-to line at these things?" He laughed, a rich sound that made her relax. "Honestly, I don't usually have a line." "I'm Jordan," Natalie, she replied, shaking his extended hand. His grip was firm but gentle, and she noticed the calluses on his palms. Not just a businessman, then. Connection beyond words. What started as polite conversation quickly became something deeper. Jordan had a way of listening that made Natalie feel truly heard. He asked about her work, her dreams, her thoughts on everything from architecture to her favorite childhood memories. Unlike most men she met at these events, he didn't dominate the conversation or name-drop his accomplishments. "So what brings you here tonight?" Natalie asked, after they had moved to a quieter corner of the ballroom. "Business obligations," Jordan said with a slight grimace. "I'm meeting with potential partners tomorrow, and my associate insisted I attend tonight to make connections. But honestly, I'd rather be anywhere else." "Same," Natalie admitted. "I love my job, but these events always feel so forced. Everyone performing their best version of themselves." "Except you're not performing right now," Jordan observed, his blue eyes studying her face. "You're being real. That's rare." The honesty in his words touched something deep inside her. They talked for hours, moving from the ballroom to the hotel's rooftop terrace. The cool night air felt refreshing against Natalie's skin as they stood overlooking the city. "Crossing the line, I should probably go find Carmen," Natalie said eventually, though she made no move to leave. "She's going to think I abandoned her. Or she's going to think you met someone worth abandoning an event for," Jordan said softly. He moved closer, and Natalie could smell his cologne, something woodsy and masculine that made her dizzy. "I don't usually do this," she whispered. "Do what?" "Stay. Talk to strangers. Feel this comfortable with someone I just met?" Jordan reached up and tucked a strand of her black hair behind her ear. The gesture was tender, intimate. Maybe that means something. When he kissed her, Natalie felt the world tilt. His lips were soft but insistent, and she found herself responding with a passion that surprised her. Her hands moved to his chest, feeling his heart racing as fast as her own. Come with me, Jordan murmured against her lips. Just for tonight. No expectations, no promises. Just us? Natalie knew she should say no. She had rules about this sort of thing. She didn't go home with men she just met. She was careful, responsible, always thinking about consequences, but looking into Jordan's eyes, feeling the electricity between them, she found herself nodding. The morning after sunlight streaming through unfamiliar windows woke Natalie. For a moment, she couldn't remember where she was. Then the events of the previous night came flooding back. The hotel room. Jordan's touch. The way he had made her feel beautiful and desired, and completely herself. She turned her head to find Jordan still asleep beside her, his face peaceful in the morning light. Panic seized her chest. What had she done? This wasn't her. This was reckless and impulsive and completely irresponsible. Carefully, quietly, Natalie slipped from the bed. She gathered her clothes and dressed quickly, her hands shaking. She found a notepad on the desk and hesitated, pen in hand. What could she possibly write? Thank you for the best night of my life. Sorry for running like a coward? In the end, she left the paper blank. She took one last look at Jordan's sleeping form, committing the image to memory, then slipped out the door. As the elevator descended, Natalie told herself it was just one night. A beautiful mistake that she would lock away in her memory and never think about again. She had no idea how wrong she was. Monday morning arrived with the sharp ring of Natalie's alarm clock. She had spent the entire weekend trying to push thoughts of Jordan from her mind. But his memory lingered like a favorite song she could not stop replaying. The way he had looked at her, the sound of his laugh, the gentle touch of his hands. She shook her head, forcing herself to focus on the day ahead. Sterling and Associates occupied the 20th floor of a sleek glass building in the financial district. Natalie arrived early, as she always did, clutching her coffee and mentally reviewing her project deadlines. The office was quiet, with only a few dedicated employees scattered throughout the open workspace. Carmen appeared at her desk within minutes, her eyes bright with curiosity. So are you going to tell me what happened on Friday night, or do I have to drag it out of you? Natalie felt heat rise to her cheeks. Nothing happened. I just met someone and we talked. For 4 hours, Carmen said, settling into the chair beside Natalie's desk. You disappeared completely. I tried texting you. My phone died. Natalie lied, remembering how she had silenced it deliberately, not wanting anything to interrupt her time with Jordan. Before Carmen could press further, Rebecca Sterling's assistant emerged from the executive wing. Patricia was a woman in her 50s who had been with the firm for decades, and her serious expression immediately commanded attention. Morning meeting in the main conference room, Patricia announced to the gathered employees, 10 minutes. Everyone needs to be there. Rebecca has an important announcement. The conference room filled quickly with curious employees. Natalie took a seat near the middle of the long mahogany table, Carmen sliding in beside her. The room buzzed with speculation about the mysterious meeting. Rebecca Sterling entered with her characteristic grace. At 52, she was the embodiment of professional success. Her silver-streaked hair was pulled into an elegant twist, and her tailored suit spoke of both authority and sophistication. Thank you all for gathering on such short notice, Rebecca began, standing at the head of the table. I have exciting news that will significantly impact our firm's future. We have secured a major client, one that will elevate Sterling and Associates to a new level of prestige. Murmurs of excitement rippled through the room. Landing a major client meant bonuses, promotions, and enhanced reputations for everyone involved. Westfield Enterprises has chosen us to handle their complete rebranding and marketing strategy, Rebecca continued. This is a multi-million-dollar account that will require our best team members. The CEO himself will be working directly with us to ensure his vision is properly executed. Natalie's pen paused over her notepad. Westfield Enterprises. The name sounded vaguely familiar, though she could not place why. The CEO is here today to meet the team and outline his expectations, Rebecca said, gesturing toward the door. Please welcome Jordan Westfield. The world seemed to stop spinning, When past meets present, Jordan walked into the conference room, and Natalie felt every molecule of oxygen leave her lungs. He wore a navy suit that fit him perfectly, his dark hair styled professionally, those unforgettable blue eyes scanning the room. He looked every bit the powerful CEO, commanding and confident. His gaze swept across the faces of the employees, a polite smile on his lips as Rebecca made introductions. Then his eyes found Natalie, and she watched his expression shift. Surprise flickered across his features, followed by something deeper, more intense. Natalie wanted to disappear. She wanted to melt into her chair and cease to exist. Her heart hammered so loudly she was certain everyone could hear it. "Jordan, let me introduce you to our core team," Rebecca was saying, oblivious to the tension crackling through the air. She began pointing out key employees, moving around the table. Carmen leaned close to Natalie and whispered, "Are you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost." Natalie could not respond. She was drowning in memories of Saturday night, of Jordan's lips on hers, of whispered words in the darkness. And now here he stood, the CEO of their biggest client, looking at her with those same blue eyes that had gazed at her with such tenderness just 2 nights ago. "And this is Natalie Pierce," Rebecca said, finally reaching her. "One of our most promising marketing coordinators. She has an exceptional track record with client relations." Jordan extended his hand, his expression carefully neutral. "Ms. Pierce, a pleasure to meet you." His hand was warm, familiar, and Natalie felt electricity shoot through her arm at his touch. "Mr. Westfield," she managed, her voice barely steady. "Welcome to Sterling and Associates." Their hands lingered together a moment too long. Jordan's thumb brushed against her palm, gesture so subtle that no one else would notice. But it sent her pulse racing. Professional boundaries, the meeting continued, but Natalie absorbed nothing. Jordan outlined his vision for Westfield Enterprises, speaking about innovation, authenticity, and creating meaningful connections with consumers. His voice was steady and professional, but every so often his gaze would drift to Natalie, and she would feel her stomach flip. When the meeting finally ended, employees began filing out, already discussing team assignments and project timelines. Natalie gathered her things quickly, desperate to escape before Jordan could approach her. "Natalie, wait," Rebecca called out. "I'd like you to stay for a moment." Natalie's heart sank. She turned back to find Rebecca standing with Jordan, both watching her expectantly. "Jordan specifically requested you as the lead coordinator for his account," Rebecca said, smiling warmly. "He was impressed by your portfolio and felt you'd be the right fit for understanding his company's vision." Natalie's eyes flew to Jordan, who maintained his professional demeanor. "Your work speaks for itself, Ms. Pierce. I believe we'll work well together." "I'm honored," Natalie said carefully, "but I'm sure there are more senior team members who might be better suited for such an important account." "Nonsense," Rebecca said. "This is exactly the kind of opportunity you've been working toward. Consider it a trial run for the senior coordinator position that's opening next month." There was no graceful way to refuse without raising suspicion. Natalie found herself nodding, accepting the assignment that would force her into regular contact with the man she had tried to forget the confrontation an hour later. Natalie sat in her cubicle, staring blankly at her computer screen. She had avoided Jordan after the meeting, but she knew the reprieve was temporary. Eventually, they would have to discuss the account. And more importantly, they would have to address what had happened between them. "We need to talk." Jordan's voice came from behind her. Low and urgent, Natalie spun in her chair to find him standing at the entrance to her cubicle. Up close, she could see the tension in his jaw, the conflict in his eyes. "Not here," she whispered, glancing around at nearby coworkers. "Then where?" Jordan asked. "Because we can't ignore this, Natalie." Hearing her name on his lips without the formal Ms. Pierce made her chest ache. The north stairwell. 5 minutes. The stairwell was deserted, used mainly for emergencies. Natalie paced nervously until Jordan appeared, closing the door behind him with a soft click. "You left," he said simply, his blue eyes searching her face. "I woke up and you were gone. No note, no explanation, nothing." "I know," Natalie said, wrapping her arms around herself. "I panicked. It was impulsive and reckless. And I don't do things like that. Things like what? Spend time with someone you connect with. Sleep with strangers, Natalie said bluntly. I don't know anything about you, Jordan. I didn't even know your last name until today. Jordan stepped closer, and Natalie could smell his cologne, the same scent that had intoxicated her on Saturday night. You know the important things. You know how I make you feel. You know that what we shared was real. It was one night, Natalie insisted, even as her heart betrayed her with its rapid beating. One night that should never have happened. And now, you're my client, which makes everything infinitely more complicated. Then we'll keep it professional, Jordan said, though his tone suggested he found the idea as painful as she did. But Natalie, I need you to know something. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small envelope. I was going to give this to Rebecca, but I think you should see it first. The proof Natalie took the envelope with trembling hands. Inside was a photograph, slightly blurry, but unmistakable. It showed her and Jordan on the hotel rooftop, caught in an embrace, his hand cupping her face as she smiled up at him. Oh, where did you get this? She whispered. The hotel's security system, Jordan explained. I had them pull footage from Friday night because I needed to find you. I didn't know your last name either, remember? Just Natalie. This was taken at 11:47, right before we went upstairs. Natalie stared at the image, at the happiness radiating from both their faces. They looked like two people falling in love, not strangers sharing a fleeting moment. Why are you showing me this? She asked. Jordan's hand came up to her cheek, mirroring the gesture in the photograph. Because I need you to see what I see. This wasn't just a mistake or a one-night thing. Look at us, Natalie. That's real. Natalie felt tears prick her eyes. She wanted to believe him, wanted to surrender to the feelings that had been consuming her since Saturday night. But reality was crushing, unavoidable. It doesn't matter, she said, stepping back from his touch. You're my client. I could lose my job. Everything I've worked for could disappear because of one impulsive decision. Then I'll find another firm, Jordan said immediately. I'll withdraw the account. Your career is more important. The offer stunned her. You'd walk away from a multi-million-dollar deal? For you? Yes. The certainty in his voice left no room for doubt. Natalie's resolve crumbled. Here was a man willing to sacrifice a major business venture because he cared about her well-being. How could she push him away? We need time to think, she said finally. Both of us. This is too important to rush. Jordan nodded slowly, though disappointment flickered across his features. How much time? I don't know, Natalie admitted. But please, for now, let's try to keep things professional. Let me do my job, and we'll figure out the rest later. As Jordan left the stairwell, Natalie sank against the wall, still clutching the photograph. She had thought Saturday night was the end of something beautiful. Instead, it appeared to be just the beginning of a story that would change everything she thought she knew about love, risk, and second chances. The following 2 weeks became a delicate dance of professionalism and suppressed emotion. Natalie threw herself into the Westfield Enterprises account with fierce determination. Crafting marketing strategies and brand concepts that showcased her talent. Every meeting with Jordan was carefully orchestrated, always with other team members present, always maintaining appropriate distance, but the tension between them was palpable. Carmen noticed immediately. Something is going on with you and the handsome CEO, Carmen said one afternoon, perching on the edge of Natalie's desk. And don't try to deny it. I've seen the way you two look at each other when you think no one is watching. Natalie kept her eyes on her computer screen. We're just focused on delivering excellent work for an important client. Great, Carmen said, unconvinced. And I'm the Queen of England. Natalie, I've known you for 3 years. I can tell when you're hiding something. Before Natalie could respond, her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Her breath caught when she read the message. Meet me at Riverside Park. Noon, please. We need to talk. It's important. She recognized the number now as Jordan's personal cell, which he had given her for urgent account matters. This felt urgent, but not in a professional way. The meeting Riverside Park stretched along the waterfront, offering peaceful walking paths and stunning views of the river. Natalie found Jordan sitting on a bench beneath a sprawling oak tree. His suit jacket discarded beside him, his sleeves rolled up to his elbows. He looked tired, as though sleep had been evading him. He stood when he saw her approaching. "Thank you for coming. I wasn't sure you would." Natalie sat down on the opposite end of the bench, maintaining distance. "You said it was important." Jordan ran a hand through his hair, a gesture she had come to recognize as a sign of his nervousness. "I've been trying to respect your wishes, to keep things professional. But Natalie, I can't keep pretending that night didn't mean anything to me." "Jordan, please," Natalie started, but he held up a hand. "Let me finish. I need you to understand something about me, about my life." He took a deep breath. "I built Westfield Enterprises from nothing. I was 23 when I started, working 18-hour days, sacrificing everything for success. And I achieved it. Money, power, respect. Everything I thought I wanted." He paused, his blue eyes distant. "But somewhere along the way, I forgot how to connect with people. Real connection, not business transactions or networking opportunities. I built walls around myself because it felt safer than being vulnerable." Natalie felt her heart soften, hearing the pain in his voice. "Then I met you," Jordan continued, turning to face her fully. "One conversation, and those walls started crumbling. You made me remember what it feels like to be genuine. To laugh without calculating the social benefit. To want someone for who they are, rather than what they can offer. That night meant something to me too," Natalie admitted quietly. "But wanting something doesn't make it practical or possible." "What if I told you there's more?" Jordan said. "What if that night had consequences neither of us anticipated?" Natalie's stomach dropped. "What are you talking about?" The revelation Jordan reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. For a moment, Natalie's heart stopped, thinking it might be a ring. Instead, when he opened it, she saw a delicate silver bracelet with a small charm in the shape of a compass. "You left this in my hotel room," Jordan said softly. "I found it on the nightstand after you disappeared. I've been carrying it with me every day since, waiting for the chance to return it." Natalie's hand flew to her wrist, where she had worn her grandmother's bracelet faithfully for 10 years. She had been so distraught that morning, so desperate to escape, that she had not even noticed its absence. "My grandmother gave me this," she whispered, taking the bracelet with trembling fingers. "Before she passed away, she said the compass would always guide me home, no matter how lost I felt." "Maybe it guided you to me," Jordan said. "Maybe we were supposed to meet, supposed to share that night. Maybe this whole complicated situation is exactly what we both needed." Natalie fastened the bracelet around her wrist, feeling its familiar weight. "Or maybe we're making this more complicated than it needs to be. Maybe the universe is telling us we're not meant to mix our personal and professional lives." "I don't believe that," Jordan said firmly. He moved closer, closing the distance between them on the bench. "Natalie, I've dated plenty of women. Models, executives, socialites. None of them made me feel a fraction of what I felt in those few hours with you." "You barely know me," Natalie protested weakly. "Then let me know you," Jordan said. "Really know you? Not as my marketing coordinator, but as the woman who laughs at terrible jokes and dreams of starting her own firm and gets this adorable crinkle between her eyebrows when she's concentrating." Natalie felt tears threatening. "What are you asking me?" "I'm asking you to take a chance," Jordan said. "I know the timing is terrible. I know there are professional complications. But Natalie, I can't let you slip away again. Not without fighting for this, for us." The choice, a jogger passed by, music blasting from earbuds, oblivious to the life-changing conversation happening on the bench. Natalie watched the river flow, constant and unstoppable, much like the feelings she had been trying to suppress. "If we do this," she said finally, "if we try to make this work, we have to be smart about it. No public displays at the office. We finish the Westfield account professionally, and then we figure out what comes next." Hope blazed in Jordan's eyes. "You're saying yes?" "I'm saying I'm willing to try," Natalie corrected. "But Jordan, I need you to understand something too. My career isn't just a job to me. It's proof that a girl from a small town with nothing but student loans and determination can make something of herself. I won't sacrifice that, not for anyone. I would never ask you to, Jordan said earnestly. In fact, I want to help you achieve your dreams. That consulting firm you mentioned, the one you want to start someday? What if someday could be sooner than you think? Natalie's eyes widened. What do you mean? Jordan pulled out his phone and showed her a document. I've been working with my legal team on something. Westfield Enterprises wants to invest in emerging businesses, particularly those led by talented individuals who understand authentic marketing. I want to offer you seed funding for your own firm. Jordan? No, Natalie said immediately. I can't accept that. It would look like payment for something inappropriate. It would undermine everything I've worked for. It's not a gift, Jordan clarified. It's a legitimate business investment with proper contracts and terms. You'd earn it, Natalie. Your ideas for my company have been brilliant. You deserve the opportunity to build something of your own. The offer was tempting, almost painfully so. Her own firm, financial backing, the chance to pursue her dreams years ahead of schedule. But accepting felt wrong, tainted by their personal connection. Let me think about it, Natalie said. The business proposal, I mean? But as for us, as for trying to make this work personally, my answer is yes. The beginning Jordan's smile was radiant, transforming his entire face. Without thinking, he pulled Natalie into his arms, holding her close. She melted into his embrace, feeling safe and uncertain all at once. I promise, I'll make this worth the risk, Jordan murmured against her hair. You better, Natalie said, pulling back to look into his blue eyes. Because I don't take chances lightly. This is completely out of character for me. Maybe that's exactly why it's right, Jordan said. He cupped her face gently, his thumb tracing her cheekbone. Maybe we're supposed to be each other's beautiful exception to all the rules. When he kissed her, it felt different from that first night. Less desperate, more certain. A promise rather than a question. Natalie kissed him back, letting herself believe that maybe, just maybe, some mistakes were actually destiny in disguise. 3 months later, the conference room at Sterling & Associates buzzed with energy as the team presented the final components of the Westfield Enterprises rebrand. Natalie stood at the head of the table, her voice confident as she walked through the comprehensive marketing strategy that had taken months to perfect. Jordan sat among the co-executives, his expression professionally neutral, but his eyes sparkled with pride every time he looked at her work. The campaign emphasizes authentic connection, Natalie concluded, building relationships based on genuine value rather than superficial transactions. We believe this approach will resonate deeply with your target demographic. Rebecca Sterling beamed from her seat. Exceptional work, Natalie. Truly exceptional. After the executives filed out, Rebecca pulled Natalie aside. I wanted to tell you first. The senior coordinator position is yours. You've more than earned it. Natalie felt joy surge through her. Thank you, Rebecca. This means everything to me. You've grown so much these past months, Rebecca observed. There's a confidence in you now that wasn't there before. Whatever changed, keep doing it. That evening, Natalie met Jordan at a small Italian restaurant far from the business district. They had been careful, discreet, building their relationship away from prying eyes. It had been challenging, sometimes frustrating, but also deeply rewarding. You were incredible today, Jordan said, reaching across the table to take her hand. Watching you command that room, seeing your vision come to life, I've never been more certain that you're meant for greatness. About your investment offer, Natalie said. I've given it a lot of thought, talked to lawyers, made sure everything would be legitimate and transparent. Jordan leaned forward, hope evident in his expression. I'm accepting, Natalie said. Not because of us, but because I've earned it. My work speaks for itself, and I'm ready to build something extraordinary. That's my girl, Jordan said, his smile brilliant. When do we start? Soon, Natalie promised. But first, I think we should probably tell people about us. I'm tired of hiding. Jordan squeezed her hand. Are you sure? I don't want to jeopardize your promotion, I'm sure, Natalie said. We've proven we can keep our personal and professional lives separate. And honestly, I want the world to know that I'm with someone who challenges me, supports me, and makes me believe in taking beautiful risks. As they left the restaurant hand in hand, Natalie thought about that night months ago when she had fled Jordan's hotel room. Convinced she had made a terrible mistake, she had been wrong. That night had not been a mistake at all. It had been the beginning of the most important chapter of her life, a reminder that sometimes the best things happen when you stop playing it safe and start listening to your heart. The compass bracelet on her wrist caught the streetlight, gleaming softly. Her grandmother had been right. It had guided her home, just not to a place but to a person who made her feel truly found. The end.